Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss the legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedoms and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, the President and General Counsel of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country in the courtrooms of America. Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedoms.
Senator Harry Reid joins President Obama in exhibiting hostility toward God, and it's not even subtle. I'm Matt Barber, Vice President of Liberty Counsel Action and Associate Dean with Liberty University School of Law, in for Matt Staver today. And joining me in studio, Shawn Akers, Dean of Liberty's Helms School of Government and Policy Analyst with Liberty Counsel. Well, Shawn, you may recall that on multiple occasions now, President Obama, in discussing the Declaration of Independence and inciting the Declaration of Independence, has very cleverly and very smoothly glossed over the reference to our Creator. We are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. President Obama has said we are endowed with certain unalienable rights, removing our Creator from the equation. Well, Senator Harry Reid on the floor of the United States Senate did the same thing recently relative to the Pledge of Allegiance, discussing the pledge and citing the Pledge of Allegiance. He omitted the words "under God." Let's take a real quick listen to that right now.
Madam President, I'm always moved to hear the Pledge of Allegiance that marks the beginning of a new legislative day in the United States Senate. On the 150th anniversary of the beginning of the Civil War, the words "one nation, indivisible" mean more today than most other days.
Shawn, they're not even being subtle about this anymore, just brazenly glossing over reference to our Creator, reference to God. It's really unbelievable. You know, fool me once, they say, shame on you. Fool me twice, thrice, multiple times, shame on me. What do they expect us to read into this other than that they are exhibiting a hostility toward reference to God? Maybe they're afraid the ACLU is going to, bring down their iron hand. I don't know, but you have to wonder.
You know, Matt, I don't want to raise Saul Alinsky's book sales intentionally, but let me tell you, if you want to clear this mystery up, pick up a copy of Rules for Radicals and give it a close read. And what you'll see is you'll hear the same things parroted in Obama's last presidential campaign that are in that book. And one of them is this. We heard Michelle Obama say it on the campaign trail for the last election, is what we're looking at the world not as it is, but what we can make it. We're not asking what the world is, we're asking what we can make it. When we talk about judicial activism, when we talk, as we did at other times in the week, about redefining marriage and redefining sexuality and even redefining gender, what we've got is a group of radicals who want to change everything up to and including the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States, and now even the Pledge of Allegiance. But notice, Matt, what's being targeted in each of those. When President Obama referenced the Declaration of Independence, what he left out was our Creator. When Harry Reid gave his rendition of the Pledge of Allegiance, this is something that every little kindergartner in the United States, or at least used to know. Now it's a little more difficult to know whether every little kindergartner knows it or not, because the education system's not so crazy about the Pledge of Allegiance. But the thing that Harry Reid left out was the exact same thing. He left out the terms "under God." So, I mean, what we see here is a very calculated redrafting of everything that it means to be an American.
Well, Shawn, you mentioned Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. You may recall that he dedicated his book, quote, "to the first radical known to man who rebelled against the establishment and did it so effectively that he at least won his own kingdom, Lucifer." Saul Alinsky dedicated his book to Satan, the first radical. President Obama has acknowledged over and again that Saul Alinsky really, and Hillary Clinton as well, many, that they sat at the feet of Saul Alinsky, learned their community organizing techniques from Saul Alinsky. Shawn, President Obama is a secular socialist. Harry Reid is a secular socialist. They have a secular socialist agenda. Socialism encompasses Marxism. What is part and parcel of Marxism? Anti-religion, the removal of Christianity, particularly any reference to Christianity, but the removal of the state to any reference to God, to religion, to a creator. It is inherently atheist. That socialism is inherently atheist or secular. The policies that these men are pushing and other liberals in Congress and around the country are secular socialist policies. We shouldn't be surprised that when the very policies they push are anti-God, are hostile toward our Judeo-Christian founding and seek to recreate, to fundamentally transform America, as President Obama has said, to a secular socialist nation in their own self-image, we shouldn't be surprised that they are brazenly, overtly removing reference to God from our founding documents and from our Pledge of Allegiance.
No, indeed. I mean, if you read Rules for Radicals, Matt, Alinsky tells you very clearly, and he is probably morally bankrupt, but he understands strategy and human nature. And what he says, Matt, is that the first job of a community organizer is to create disharmony so you can get people mad enough and motivated enough to want change more than the status quo. Mm-hmm. According to him, you have to be more uncomfortable with the status quo than the fear of change in order to do that. Now, what he wants, though, even this quote that you have about dedicating the book to Lucifer, what he is celebrating is change for the sake of change, for the shifting of power, for the sake of shifting power, for revolution's sake. And he'll even tell you that you don't have to even know where you're going to send this, where you're going to direct this power. What you have to do is get people moving through something that they hate, through some sort of disunity, so you can then unify them around any cause. It doesn't matter what cause, any cause. But what you have to do is break down the things that have held them together in the past before you can reorganize them in yours. Now, what Alexis de Tocqueville and multiple others have told us, Matt, is that the reason our nation has been able to go for 230 years under a 4-page Constitution is because that Constitution was designed for a moral and religious people. In other words, the reason we can live under 4 pages so successfully is because we have governed ourselves under the Judeo-Christian worldview outside of those 4 pages. What the Alinskyites, what these who would take God out of all of our founding documents, out of our Pledge of Allegiance, are doing is recognizing right off the bat that the source of our structure has been the Judeo-Christian worldview. So it has to be attacked, it has to be dismantled, and it has to be erased before you can bring in a new ideology that undergirds a new society.
And that worldview, and that's what this is, it's a clash between worldviews from a 30,000-foot level between the Judeo-Christian worldview upon which our nation was irrefutably founded, and within which is the context and the framework that the Constitution was intended to work in harmony, versus a secular socialist worldview. Obama shares that worldview. Reid shares that worldview. Pelosi, liberals in Congress, the secular left, the larger left, share that worldview. That is in direct conflict with the United States Constitution. Therefore, the Constitution must be circumvented. And the way to circumvent the Constitution and the way to impose this worldview, to remove God from the equation, as Harry Reid and President Obama have very metaphorically and symbolically done by literally removing it from our founding documents, the way you do that is in a crisis situation. And if you can't adopt and embrace the crisis and use an existing crisis, you manufacture a crisis. It was Rahm Emanuel, President Obama's chief of staff, former chief of staff, now the mayor of Chicago, who said, quote, "You never want a serious crisis to go to waste. And what I mean by that is an opportunity to do things you think you could not do before." Folks, we are in a crisis in this nation. We are in a moral crisis in this nation. We are in an economic crisis in this nation. We are going through a national defense crisis in this nation. From all angles, secular socialists controlling the reins of government are embracing and utilizing these crises to try to instill their secular socialist worldview in public policy and throughout our larger culture. We're not going to let them do it at Liberty Counsel. Join us in pushing back and fighting against this secular socialism. Go to lc.org to learn how you can become part of the Liberty Counsel team, or give us a call at 1-800-671-1776. Go to lc.org now.
You have been listening to Matt Staver of Liberty Counsel. Our hope is to encourage and inspire you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedoms. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email update. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.